podcast, and I have an excellent co-oracle with me today. I have the lovely Miss Rachel from Feathered Bookmark over on TikTok. She has graciously agreed to join me for a little bit of a impromptu episode tonight. I'm without my normal guests and co-hosts and that sort of thing, and she's just coming on to yap a little bit about some books that she loves. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got it started reading and what your reading journey has been and what some of your favorite series are, Rachel?
Awesome. Thank you for having me, by the way. So I started reading back when I was a kid. I think one of the first books I fell in love with was The Wizard of Oz back when I was like 7 or 8. It's a little young for The Wizard of Oz. It's got some more scary topics in there, but I like scary books too, so that's fine. And then I really just started introducing reading throughout there, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, going through like Captain Underpants, graphic novels, and it just progressed more when I was getting older. And I fell off when I was in high school for a little bit. And then I was kind of on and off throughout my years as an adult. And then I got really back into it after my first divorce in 2022. I created my book blog to be able to get myself back into it. That was featherbookmark.com. And I ended up falling off for a little bit. I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. And I was going to make it mainly young adult, but then I started getting into the more adult section. So I got into A Court of Thorns and Roses. Not read Fourth Wing yet, but that's one that's on my list. But more that romantasy area over there. And then more recently, my husband actually introduced me into Brandon Sanderson books, and that made me want to restart my book blog coming in since we had Dragonsteel last year, and we
Yeah,
had tickets to go. That was
that's
so
awesome.
much fun. That
I'm
was
so
so great.
jealous.
We were looking for tickets this year too, and I applied for a media badge, so hopefully I'll have more behind the scenes later this year. But yeah, I started reading Brandon Sanderson. That's where I found Pierce Brown, Robin Hobb. I actually have a I have tickets down to go see Robin Hobb, Brandon Sanderson, and Ryan Cahill on the 25th over at Lehigh High School. They're going to do a little interview down there, so I'm excited for that too.
That's
But
awesome.
recently, I've been reading Red Rising. That's been my biggest thing all over my TikTok page at the moment. I'm in love with it. I'm about 30% of the way through Dark Age, and I'm digging it so far. It's probably one of my favorite at the moment. Read a little bit of the Cosmere. I went through Words of Radiance. That was a lot of fun. Haven't started Oathbringer yet. And then I read the first of Mistborn. Read the first Undercolor Carl book like 2 years ago. I'm sorry, everybody. Uh,
I get it. I'm just
um,
jumping on that train now, finally.
yeah, yeah. I wasn't too big into it. Like I liked it, but I was like it's just it's different.
Yeah,
It wasn't quite up my alley, but now that it's getting more popular, I'm like I need to actually continue reading it. I heard it gets a lot better too, so there's that. But Red Rising's where I'm at right now.
I've definitely heard that it definitely jumps up in quality a little bit
Hmm.
after a little bit, so that's exciting. What's
Yeah.
out of like the out of the Red Rising, out of the Cosmere, out of that kind of section, what is your favorite book out of those kind of ones
Red
that you've read so
Rising
far?
series for sure. It's definitely
Yeah.
Red Rising. I loved Morningstar.
Hmm.
A book has never made me cry before. I still am not there yet, but that one came really close. Really close. It's probably the closest I got to crying in a book. So, I do love it. I'm actually getting a Red Rising tattoo here soon. So,
That's awesome. What's it gonna
I'm,
be?
I'm gonna get the Sling Blade on my chest.
That's so sweet. That's
Uh-uh.
awesome. I just think that Red Rising has, I don't know, there's so much iconic symbolism in Red Rising, and there's so many, I don't know, the message is more relevant than ever, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, Red Rising rules. It's so good. I can't say enough good things about it.
Hmm.
Who's your favorite character besides the obvious ones?
So I'm a big fan of Severo.
Hmm.
Severo likes to collect eyes.
Hmm.
In case like people have not read it, he loves to collect eyes. He has a big eye collection. I myself have an oddities collection. I have a sheep brain, I have skulls, pelts. I have a bunch of stuff. I probably shouldn't show them, but like I have them on my shelf over there. So
I get
I
it.
relate to a lot of that like weird freaky stuff. And by far like one of my favorite characters, if we're talking side characters, um or like smaller characters, I really enjoyed Ragnar. He's
Ragnar
still
was the
huge,
goat.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I loved Ragnar. I loved how we met Ragnar. I loved everything about him. And yeah, yeah, Morningstar was hard. That was a hard
Morningstar
book.
was hard. It was a tough book.
That was a really hard book.
Yeah. I'm a big like I loved Roke. I think that Roke was one of my
Oh,
favorite
Rogue was
characters,
good.
and
Yeah.
I uh, I'm still like a Roke defender. I don't know. I'm probably gonna catch some heat for this one, but I'm still a Roke defender. Like I literally I understand that he was in a terrible situation and
Mhm.
he did terrible things and he was upholding a terrible system, but I still have to feel some. I try and feel empathy, if not necessarily sympathy, for him,
Yeah.
because he was born into this system. It's all that he's ever known,
Mhm.
and uh, like it's not only him, but it's his family, everyone who he knows and loves, and he is just trying to do what he feels is honorable after he was betrayed by someone who called him a brother. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the most interesting characters I feel like in especially in the first trilogy. I think that there are some other ones in the second trilogy or in the
Yeah,
second series that you get into that are more complicated as well. But I love Roke.
yeah. That's something I really do like about this series that I think is actually really unique about it is that every character has a lot of depth to them, even if they're not a huge character like that, like a character that's, like probably gonna go off somewhere. Um, they still have so much depth and character to them and they're developed to a certain extent and like there's not a character that there's characters I hate, obviously. Like
For sure.
there's
Yeah.
characters you're supposed to hate,
Hmm.
but there's not a character that I hate based on like how they were written or how they were made, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's not like a Sadius in
Yeah. No, exactly.
like
Like,
someone who's just like evil for like pure like greedy terribleness, or like
yeah.
there are people who are messed up and twisted, but like all I don't know. Even Sadius is a bad example because like Sadius has some
He's a
stuff in his
well-developed
backstory.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah. I I can't wait for you to read Oathbringer. There's so much
I'm
more
so
Sadius
excited for Oathbringer.
that you're gonna get. Can't wait for that.
I'm a big Dalinar fan, so I'm really looking forward to this one.
Oh, uh, I'm yeah.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
I
Let me
can't say
enjoy that
anything.
little bit of time. Let me
I,
let me enjoy that
I
time.
can't say anything. I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good book. You're gonna have a good time, and then you might have a bad time, but it'll be fine.
No. No, don't say that.
No, it's not that. It's you're fine. But
Okay.
it's a tough read too. Honestly, Oathbringer is one of those that's also like hard to get through at points, just because of some of the subject material and stuff. It gets a little rough at some points. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, what did you think of? So you've only read the first Mistborn book, you said?
Yeah, and that wasn't too long ago. That one didn't I hate to say that it didn't strike me as much as the others. So I have really bad first book syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and this got me a lot of heat. I don't know, like I posted a video not too long ago about me not wanting to dip my feet into sci-fi books, and this is before I read Red Rising, like way before then,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of people are like, "Well, if your husband's not recommending Dungeon Crawler Carl," and I was like, "Well, I read the first one and I rated it 3 stars." Like to me, it was just a book.
Yeah.
And dude, I got annihilated. I was
You'll
like,
get
"Oh
flamed
my
on the
god."
internet for saying anything bad about Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like and
Yeah. Oh yeah,
well,
I learned
well,
that really quickly.
I'm
Um,
probably losing followers right now just for saying
no,
that
for
that
real. You're like,
opinion. But
"How dare you have this person on your podcast? They suck." No, in reality,
No.
like, my 3 stars is, like, I'm probably gonna continue the series, like, it is a book for
Yeah.
me, but it's like, I have really bad first book syndrome. It happened with The
Hmm.
Way of Kings, it happened with Mistborn, so I think once I, like, get into book 2, I'm gonna be fine. Because I
Yeah.
was not a fan of The Way of Kings, but I'm a big fan of Words of Radiance, and Red Rising was the only one that I rated 5 stars all across the board,
Yeah.
which was shocker to me. But yeah, all the other ones I get really bad first book syndrome. I'm just not a fan of that like build, 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 peak, and then done.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of books are made, unfortunately. But
Unfortunately, yeah, it's
yeah,
well, and especially with Brandon Sanderson and like the Cosmere books, he
1,000
is
pages.
a thousand pages of build up and like
Hmm.
establishing the lore and establishing the world and like there's so much that he has to establish that the story kind of takes a back seat, especially and it especially like Mistborn's really bad about it, where like a lot of the story happens. And the Sanderlanche is the I think the worst
It
it
was
ever
good.
gets in
Like,
Mistborn. It's an
yeah, it's good.
I rated it. I rated it as 5 stars. Like
Yeah.
it's what got me started in the Cosmere. I
Hmm.
read the Cosmere in a year um because I loved Mistborn so much when I read it at the beginning of last year. Like I powered through it. It was one of those where like I read the first book, I read the second book, I read the third book in like 2 weeks. Like
Yeah.
I housed Mistborn last year,
Hmm.
but um, the problem with Mistborn is that there is a lot of buildup in that first book, and so I would really encourage you to try and get into that second book. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that the way that it starts is really compelling, and it really hooks, like it gets it hooked, it's hooksing you right away. And the premise for it is really like it helps to build off of what the first book was in a really neat, interesting way.
That's something I definitely know I need to do. I've just been procrastinating it.
I get it.
I'm afraid to like dive deep into those kinds of things, you know?
Yeah.
Like those are heavy hitting books. They're very long. It's like it's
Hmm.
intimidating sometimes, but I'm definitely getting around to it. With the new baby, it gets a little hard, but
I, I get
um
it for sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm working on that. But I liked the first Mistborn. I really liked how it ended. I liked that Sanderlanche. Elantris was actually the one that really made me try out Mistborn for the first time
Hmm.
because I really liked Elantris. Have you read Elantris?
I this is my worst take. I know that this is a bad take. I hate Elantris. I
Really?
almost so I read Elantris and I was like, man. I take that
It's
back.
not his best
It
work.
was it was the first one that I read in the Cosmere. And I almost did not read anymore because of
Really?
Elantris.
No, that's
I have
totally
since gone
fine.
back. I have gone back and read it, and I appreciate it more with more knowledge. But I I don't love how it's. I really don't enjoy the I, I the magic wasn't there yet. I guess for me, I don't
Yeah,
think that the
that was like one
style
of
that I really
his.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like the start of like the whole Sanderland stuff. Like that was one of his like
Hmm.
first little bit of work that actually got pretty decently big. That was what, like 2005, 6, 7,
I think
8,
so, somewhere in there. Yeah.
somewhere. But I it was like the one that made me go back into it. So after like The Way of Kings, I was like, this is just long and I'm having a hard time. And I read Elantris and it was just that nice like in between for me
Yeah.
before going into Mistborn. And then I was like, I'm gonna take a break. Like I'm gonna throw myself off the wheel of Brandon Sanderson and then either get too invested or I'm gonna drop off of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think is the if you could have one power in the Cosmere, what would it be? Would you be a Mistborn? Would you be a Shardbearer? Would you be a Radiant? What's your
I will say, like, as much as I like was not the biggest, like, I'm not like a huge Mistborn person. Like, I liked it, but I'm not a huge one. That
Mhm.
the metal alchemy is
Oh, it's so
so
cool.
cool, dude. It's so
Yeah.
cool. I think it's like
And
one of the coolest things that's ever been put into a book.
and you've just scratched the surface of what
Yeah.
there is to know and learn about it, because there is
Hmm.
so much. There's so much
Oh,
more. Like
oh yeah.
the second book builds upon it a little bit more, but once you hit the third book, you really start to like understand more like it, and you can kind of see the hints, and like reading back through it, you can really kind of like piece it together and see like it was all planned out from the beginning. But in third book, they really like he really like spells it out really
Hmm.
well, about how everything works and how the things tie together and everything. And by the time that you get to the third book, it's it's
I
like
I
so
heard
good.
it was the best one. The third
The
book
third
was the
one is the
best of the
best.
series. That's what I heard.
It's really good. I love the second era too, but the first era just hits different.
I was gonna ask if you were the second era because next year, not this upcoming Dragonsteel, but the next one is Ghostbloods.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna try and
it's gonna be
go
the big
to
one.
that one. I'm gonna try
I think
and
a
go.
lot of people are.
Yeah, I'm not excited to try and get tickets, but
It's
that's
gonna be
kind of
good.
my goal, is to try and go to that one, because I
Hmm.
like my grandma lives like an hour away from Salt Lake. So like
Oh really?
currently I live in Texas, so I can
Okay.
it would be easier to go there than, yeah, you know what
No,
I mean.
I get it entirely. Since I'm in the Salt Lake region, I'm in the Salt Lake region, but I'm in like one of the corner edges. So
Hmm.
I'm like a 45-minute drive from downtown. It's really not that bad, but the Salt Lake Palace where he hosts it is so much fun. That's where they hold their like fan expo and everything. But
Oh yeah.
it's so much fun. It was such a good time last year, and like sitting in with Pierce Brown and Matt Dinneman, and we went to a couple of other panels there. So Dragonsteel was a blast. I was 30 weeks pregnant. I was not a fan of that, but
Oh, that does not sound like any fun.
my feet hurt so bad.
I can only imagine. Yeah. Oh man. So, what do you want? Is there any other oh, excuse me. Ooh, TikTok. Is there any other books or anything that you want to talk about before we get into the kind of debate section? Or
I don't believe so, specifically out of like the range that I've already kind of talked to you
Mhm.
about. The only thing though I've actually been doing recently is I've been reading a little bit more of the indie books. I've been getting sent a couple of indie books to read.
Nice.
So I'm hoping to move some of my TikTok content into indie books as well.
I would
So
love to
that's
read more indie books. That's kind of my goal for
yeah.
this like off season, is to read more stuff that's not like I love the Cosmere, and the Cosmere and
Yeah.
like that sort of
Hmm.
thing will always be my bread and butter. And like I love Percy Jackson and I love that sort of thing. But
Oh, Percy Jackson.
dude, so the Oracle podcast, the whole reason that it's called the Oracle podcast is originally this was like a just a Percy Jackson podcast. And then I said, I'm not just restraining myself to talking about just Percy Jackson. I'm going to talk about lots
I
of
love
things.
Per
And so,
I love
yeah,
Percy Jackson.
yeah, it's so
I
good.
forgot Percy Jackson.
What's your favorite Percy Jackson book? Go.
Oh god, dude, it's been like over 10 years since I've read the series. I couldn't tell you.
Did you watch the show?
No, I didn't actually. I watched the original movie when it came out, but I
So
was like in
bad.
middle school when that happened. That was not good.
No, it was
Like when I was
the
like
second
11,
one
I
was
thought it
really
was
bad.
cool.
Yeah, oh, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I feel like the first one, if I remember correctly.
The first one's really
Like
good.
the
It's
Medusa.
one of the best one. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Medusa, the Minotaur, the like.
yeah.
It's pretty hype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was a big Hunger Games fan around that time too.
I love the Hunger Games too.
Love the
That's
Hunger Games.
one of the things that makes Red Rising so great and so easy to pitch to people, is that
Yeah.
you can pitch it like, hey, this is the first one especially is very Hunger Games esque, and then
Mm-hmm.
it builds from there and goes in different directions. But it's really easy to pitch to
Yeah.
people like that. That's how I get people to read this. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
it's kind of got like a Hunger Games vibe for the first one, and they're like, oh, cool, I'll
Oh,
give it a
cool. So
try.
you're just pitching out this like, it kind of starts YA. It starts a little bit YA, but then
Well,
it just goes into, I'm gonna rip your heart out. So yeah.
I only pitch it to people who are of the appropriate mindset to it, and then they get mad at me because their favorite characters get their
They just
heads
drop
cut
them
off,
all in.
but it's
I
fine.
think, yeah, I think I've been spoiled on one one death in Dark Age. I'm not entirely sure. It was hinted in one of my comment sections. I was like, why do I read my comments? This
I hate
like I
reading.
totally
I hate comments sometimes.
I was like I need to respond to them, but like I some
Yeah,
people are just not good about not spoiling things.
some
And I
people are
get it. I
just
do. We're
jerks
excited.
too. Is
I
part of it.
know.
Yeah.
I think it was like somebody commented in my comment section like if anything happens to this character, I'd be really upset. And somebody was like, "Oh, you gotta be prepared for Dark Age." Then I was like, "Why would you
Yeah.
say that?
Why would you say that? Why
Why
would you
would
say
you say
that?
that?
Yeah.
Why would you
Some
say
people
that?"
are so rude.
It's fine. I'm not
It's
spoiled
fine.
on Hangar 17B. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
Everything
fine.
it's such a happy place. Hangar 17B is a ice cream party.
I heard it was so sweet and so
Super
kind
sweet.
to you,
Yeah,
and it's gonna
very
build your heart.
exactly. Yeah, it's not gonna break it at all. I'm fine.
Cry.
I'm not crying. You're crying. All right, let's get into our debate section. So this is the first inaugural episode because our technically my last week's episode was supposed to be the inaugural episode, and then one of my guests canceled. So this is actually the inaugural episode of Book
Let's
Fights,
go.
the debate show that is a segment of the Oracle podcast. This is a completely first trilogy of a Red Rising um, debate. So we're going to talk about that. Since you are the guest, I will let you have the first crack at this answer to this first question. Since I did poll my audience earlier to get these questions, so I didn't know these questions in advance. I haven't had time to prepare for
That's
them.
perfectly fine. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So the first question is: did Gold's society of 700 years of peace justify the color hierarchy?
There's 700 years of peace?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to do 1 minute timers for our opening section. We're going to have 1 minute timers for our for a kind of cross debate section, and then 30-second closing statements.
Well, I don't disagree that like it's a good place to kind of think because you have 700 years of actual peace and be like, we're good, we're fine, we're doing great. But what's really happening behind the scene? Like, you can come out and be like, oh yeah, we're such a peaceful people. This is how we look. But then like people look at us like we're gods, and then in reality we're enslaved. So I think there's a certain point to be able to look. I don't think it's justified from an outside view, but not from an inside view. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because like they mainly had the perspective, like the golds had the perspective of the golds, and the reds were like, dude, I'm enslaved. My life sucks. I don't get to see the sunlight. Like,
Yeah.
they lived in peace technically. So
They
I mean,
live
I
in
don't.
peace.
Yeah, they lived in peace technically at that rate. So maybe it's like, again, from the outside view, I can see why people would think it'd be justified, but being in that being in that situation, I don't think it actually would be from a real perspective.
Yeah, I like it. All right, that was your 1 minute. So you chose the against argument. You do not think that it was. Now I have to argue why it was justified. So these are not my real thoughts. I'm just arguing for the sake of debate here. So please excuse
No,
my
you're good.
talking points. In the words of Victra Al Julia, coffee just tastes better when you know that thousands of red slaves died to make it. Um, was were some lives lost? Were some lives sacrificed for 700 years of peace? Yes, and it was worth it. I think that the lives that would have been lost through war, through famine, through genocide would have been way, way more if gold hadn't seized control. I mean, we saw this with the war between the between the Orients and Earth. There was war, there was famine, there was genocide, and the gold stepped in and took control and prevented all of that. And that was my timer.
That was a very, and I mean this in the kindest way possible, Lord Farquaad, some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to take.
Well, I mean, Lord Farquaad, great guy. Hey, listen, if you're gonna short king. All right, we're gonna go into our 1 minute of free for all, starting now.
Okay, just continuing on what we were going off of.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, we swapped sides. We swapped sides. Victra, thank you, thank you. We are no longer on that side.
All right, fine.
We married a red. Like we married a red.
all right, that's fair. The best part about Gold Society is that it was peaceful for 700 years, and that it was able to maintain its control not only through force but also through its ability to govern itself and its ability to rule. Gold was literally bred to rule.
Until one person comes up and says, this isn't right, we need to make it right, we need a king, and we can make this happen.
But he took on the visage of gold and is likely going to fall into his own dictatorial traps.
That didn't stop nobody.
It didn't stop
nobody. It was cracked in like the matter of like minutes.
It really was. I'm not having a good time arguing this. All right, we're gonna have 30-second closing statements on this. You go first again, and I get to go last on this one.
Okay.
And go.
Perfect. So, in the very end of it all, we would have chosen peace if my enemies did not bring me war. Because the Reds were enslaved, they were being massacred, they couldn't see the sunlight, to where they needed to rebel and be able to have the Reaper rise. Because the Golds, while they were peaceful, were very quiet and underspoken about everything that was actually happening to each other.
I like it. And now for my closing statement, starting now. What is the right to rule? Is it the right to control war? Is it the right to control lives? Is it the right to control people? That is what gold was bred to do, was to rule and to be the righteous ruler. And because they took the right to rule and they made it their own, they had the right.
You got it on a dime, though. You were quick thinking for something that, like, oh man, I don't want to debate that part. Like I was.
I love debating. It's one of my favorite things. I loved I was on debate team back in the day and stuff.
I was about to ask actually.
Yeah, I love debate team. It's so much fun just to debate. Okay, let's see. All right. This is the next question. Was Fitchner justified in his methods? So not in rebelling, but in his methods of going to war and doing everything that he did. Was he justified? And once again, you're the guest, so I shall let you choose.
I feel like Fitchner's methods were a little rough, but I understand as to why he did them. So with his methods being able to like kind of fly underneath the radar and be like, like being Ares himself, I feel like if you were to tell that to a lot of people, especially somebody like Darrow in this case, who's like making a huge publicity, like huge public figure at this point, I understand why he did it. Now, being justified, probably in this case. And then I think he revealed himself at the right point. He's like, wait, I know you. He's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
do.
you do.
Actually, yeah, it's always been me.
That's awesome. All right. I have to argue against that. Let's see. If you're going to topple society, the way that you do it is more important than the doing it itself. The coming out to doing it in the open and saying why and showing why is just as important as toppling the society itself. I think that he should have been campaigning against it. He shouldn't have just been being a lapdog for gold the whole time while he was secretly fighting a war of resistance against them. He should have come out and been publicly against them and campaigning against things and doing things. He sat idly by and watched so many Reds die just to choose Darrow to be one to live. And he
Mhm.
not only did that, but he used the Sons of Ares like a weapon and sacrificed so many of their lives, like Darrow does, for his own cause. All right. And now we can go into the free for all. All right.
All right. So would that have actually compromised the mission if you were to be like, we're going to debate this, we're going to do this, and since gold was, bred to be the higher power, they're viewed as gods, would they have even listened to him in this case instead of waiting for somebody like Darrow to come up and be the more public figure before being able to be like, oh hey, by the way, like this is what we're doing, especially since like Severo was in it as well, like he knew and he's like I'm not the greatest debater. Wow. Since he had, his own son even involved to keep this is a big secret to keep. And we also had other people in like Harmony and then Dancer. And, there was a lot of risk to be taken in this case to just be like, we need to just do this the most politically correct way versus we're trying to take down a massive class of people. We need to be able to do this rightfully for everybody.
Yeah. I'll just make one point quick before we move on to the next one. And that is that I think that he it is important to not only show your hand but also to show what it I think you could have won over a lot more people and a lot more of gold potentially could have sided with him if he were to have come out publicly and done it first because people didn't people didn't know what happened to his wife and everything and that whole situation. And if he would have exposed that sooner, then he could have won supporters to his side on gold. But
Yeah.
again,
I
all
will say that
right.
is a really fair point because you never know what would have happened.
Yeah, you can't have
Yeah,
known, but I actually do agree, kind of agree with this opinion. Is I don't know if he should have done it publicly, but I do think that he should have gone about making more allies in gold to
yeah,
have a bigger foundation to go against
yeah.
them. But again,
It was yeah, because once everything was out, that was kind of the downfall of the Reaper going into Morningstar.
yeah, is
That
he
that's
didn't
what.
have yeah. But again, that's part of Fitchner's whole thing is and why he's such an interesting character is he's not this all-seeing, all-planning
Yeah,
person that's what Quicksilver is for. Like that's why he had Quicksilver on his team is because he needed someone to be the other side of the coin.
yeah.
So, do you want to do final statements, or are you happy with that? Where
I'm
we left
actually
it?
happy with that because I feel like both sides of that were really not that bad. I'm not a good debater, like thinking right off the tip of my tongue,
Hmm.
but I feel like Fishner in that case, like you're right. He definitely could have made more allies. I'm not so sure about going publicly, but yeah, he definitely could have made a little bit more allies with a couple of golds. Because once everything came to fruition with the Reaper being a red, was the biggest downfall of the Reaper.
Yeah. All right, our final question of the night. Was Roque Al-Fabii a traitor or a loyal patriot?
Oh, Roke. Roke was given so many chances, all right? Like, he was given so many chances to do right, but he kept choosing the wrong thing almost every single time. He was given so many opportunities to go with Darrow in this case, and he just kept going against it. So in that case, I feel like he is a traitor for what he did originally stand for, but his loyal patriotism was his biggest downfall to that. So I do think he was a bit like he was huge into his patriotism and like where he came from, but in that turn he ended up becoming a traitor because of it.
All right. Roque Al-Fabii was a loyal patriot. He only did what he saw was right the entire time. He was the poet. He was a poet. He was raised on old-fashioned ideas, like the Marcus Aurelius. He he believed in something, and he like Brutus, he chose to strike down someone who he believed was taking too much power for himself. He was one who, when he saw something that was wrong, he acted against it. And even though he was ultimately, and it was proven to be ultimately on the wrong side of history, he was defending his family, his loved ones, his society that he had been raised into. And he was betrayed by one who called him brother, by his friend. He he was poisoned, and then turned his back on. He was abandoned in the cold. What was Roque Al-Fabii supposed to do other than what he did?
Roke was given so many chances. So many chances.
Darrow was given so many chances to befriend Rogue. He poisoned it. Like what was Rogue supposed to believe when Darrow poisoned him, and then there was a bombing at the gala? Darrow poisoned him to try and like he was trying to help him, but Darrow, from Rogue's perspective, what's he supposed to believe, that Darrow was just trying to like take all the credit for himself, or have Rogue out of the way so he can make a scene? What's Rogue supposed to believe there?
Roke did, and I will give you that the Roke did end up seeing like after Quinn. I don't know if I'm allowed to do spoilers.
Yeah,
After
spoilers.
Quinn. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
no, like
Yeah.
after Quinn's whole situation, like
Yeah.
I get it, but he still went and fought for the person who ended up killing Quinn. Like he was still going over to that side. He went for the Sovereign and Aja and everybody, and he's like, I'm gonna work for them still, even though I'm gonna blame Darrow for Quinn because
But
Darrow put Quinn in this situation.
yeah, but that was Quinn, like that was Darrow's fault, and that Quinn died. And as much as it was the Sovereign's fault and all of their fault for being put into the Institute itself, it was also Darrow's fault for choosing the side that he did and being in the situation that he was in.
Wasn't willing to hear Darrow out though.
No,
He was like, "Screw you."
but Darrow also burned that bridge when he poisoned him and didn't give him the option, and didn't trust Rogue with his secret.
It's a fair point, actually. Well, I don't disagree with it. Like
But
in such
I also
yeah.
see your point as well.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like
This
that
is
was
my most contentious point,
yeah.
and I understand that I am like I'm wrong. Like I realize
Well,
that, but
no, it's not that you're wrong in any kind of case. It's actually really good to think about it from all these different perspectives because that's what makes this book so interesting.
mhm,
Roke himself was such a complex character because of his trauma and his history growing up, and then getting poisoned, and then he goes back and poisons Darrow, and he's just like,
yeah,
screw you, we're not doing this anymore. So
yeah.
I don't blame him at all from his perspective. It did, like, I'm glad he was able to kind of see through it to the very end, but he was not willing to listen out to Darrow, and I get
No,
that.
he
I
wasn't.
probably wouldn't have either. I probably
I
wouldn't have either.
I like looking at it through that perspective. Uh, someone who you like, someone who you called brother, who you named as your brother, he poisons you, and then you find out later that he's been lying to you like since before you met, that he is really a rebel who is coming to take your way of life from you, to take your family, to destroy everything that you've ever known. I'd be pretty mad. Like I would probably be pretty mad too. Now I hopefully wouldn't be in that situation, and I wouldn't have upheld the tyrannical system that I was a part of, but I can understand why he was so mad, and I understand that aspect of it.
Oh yeah. Just when you watch people go from like you have like all these friends and they are just dropping like flies and the
Mhm.
person who's supposed to be leading them is kind of like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if I would take that for an answer either. So I can totally see that from that perspective. That's my biggest thing with, my TikTok and my blog and everything is that my space is always open for like debates and that kind of stuff. It's always a safe
Yeah.
space. So I totally that's a really good perspective to have it open to.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a really important aspect to think about too, is what would you do in their shoes? So
Hmm. There's another character who I am uh, not a defender of, but I like to try and have empathy for them as well, and that gets me a lot of hate. I'm not going to talk about it because yeah, we're you're not there yet, but I think
I
that you probably
know.
know. Yeah, yeah.
Is it Hanger 17B?
It is adjacent to that. Yes.
Okay. I already
Yeah,
know. I already
yeah,
know. We don't have to talk about it, but I already
yeah,
know.
yeah. I like I said, that's another situation where I 100% agree with the people who disagree with me, like on a moral and conceptual level, but I try to look at it through from his perspective as well and realize that
Yeah.
that was a bad situation.
Like
But anyway,
even
we'll
in
move
Iron
away from that.
Gold, I mean, yeah, even
Yeah,
in Iron Gold, like originally the whole conversation, everything like that
yeah,
made sense. So
yeah. That's that duo is my favorite part of Iron Gold.
I loved those two.
I know.
It's
Now
gonna
I'm
hurt so
sad.
bad.
Now I'm sad.
Oh, it's gonna hurt so bad, and I know it. I'm just
Yeah.
anticipating it.
It's wild. It's wild how it happens too. And like after what at yeah, man. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. Was the destruction of the dockyards of Ganymede justified?
I don't know if I can debate that one. Mainly just because I cannot tell you if it was or wasn't because so much was happening at that point. I feel like there was a lot of emotional drive in a lot of that. There like
And
I
we
don't
can
know how
just
to
frame
debate
this
that
one
one.
as a discussion as well. We don't necessarily have to
Yeah.
even debate this one.
Yeah.
Um, I think that it was like it's a genocide. We can
Yeah.
just go ahead and say that like
Mhm.
millions of people were working on those
Yeah.
docks and living there and doing all that. So no, first of all,
No,
but
yeah. There was like there was so much emotions behind
mhm.
all of that.
And Darrow was just trying to win a war that hadn't even started yet against someone who he had just made an alliance with. Like,
Yeah, and he like what was so crazy about that too is that the last couple of chapters of Morningstar with the nukes with the jackal, I was like, it kind
mhm,
of went both ways at that point.
yeah, for sure.
I was like I kind of giggled when Cassius is like you just killed 6 million people.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
but how many has your war to get here? Like
Yeah.
how many millions of people have you killed to get here?
Yeah.
not
That
including the Dockyards of Ganymede. Like,
that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't know if I can debate that because both of them did almost the same thing of just mass genocide
yeah,
for one side or
it's-
the other. In the end, the war was no different on either side
no,
at that point.
no, war is hell no matter what. Like, and that's
Yeah.
part of the themes of it is that war is not justified no matter what.
No. No,
And
but I think that's what made that so interesting. I liked that
mhm.
question a lot, actually.
It's that was one of my favorite ones that they came up with.
Yeah.
They cooked out of their minds with these questions. So thank you to
Dude, yeah.
my audience members for coming up with these excellent questions. Please let us know. I'm going to post this debate section as kind of its own video. So please let us know down in the comments who won each debate and what you guys think on either side of these questions. So thank you guys so much for watching that. Do you have any more thoughts before we wrap up the podcast today?
I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I had no idea what to expect. It's my first podcast. So this was a
Well,
blast. I had a lot of
thank
fun
you
with
for coming
this.
on. Well, I'll have to have you back when we've got more guests on and more
Yeah.
stuff to talk about. Oh, what is your most anticipated upcoming movie of the year? Really quick before we go.
Oh, movie? Does it matter
Movie or TV show?
oh my god. Okay, so listen. I just saw the Michael movie.
Okay.
The Michael Jackson movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was so stoked for that to come out this year, and
Mm-hmm.
that was by far one of the best movies that I've watched all year.
That's amazing.
In
I haven't
in,
seen it
in
yet,
years.
so
Dude, it's so good. I
I'm gonna
I
have to go
love
watch
Michael
it.
Jackson growing up. My
Mm-hmm.
entire life I grew up with this man. Oh my god, it was so good. There's gonna be like probably 2 or 3 more movies.
I'm sure that I'm sure that they're gonna do at least the Jackson, and then probably something else too. Yeah, is
Yeah,
what I've
so they
heard.
it's like his life story, but they can only get so far and like
Hmm.
I don't even think we did not hit the 2000s yet in by
Well,
the end of this
and
movie. So I'm like,
is it true that they didn't like cover any of like the controversies and everything in this like any of his
yeah,
controversies in this one
yeah, not yet because we didn't get like we
to that
I
point
don't want I
yet?
don't want I don't want to say where we ended, but yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't get to that point yet. That was way later. And
Okay.
so the original, like we did some research. My husband and I did some research afterwards. They did like 4.5 hours of filming, and only
Hmm.
2.5 made it to the movie. So that's why
Oh
they're
yeah,
like, we're gonna split this into multiple movies, is because there was so
makes
much of
sense.
it.
Yeah, too
But,
much.
yeah, but if you have not seen the Michael Jackson movie, go watch it. It's so good.
Nice. Are you excited? Do you like Greek mythology? Are you excited for the Odyssey movie?
I didn't even know that was a thing until recently. I'm not a huge movie person. I used to
Oh,
be,
that's
and
fair.
but now recently with, having a baby, there's only so many things I can go do when I have
Hmm.
a babysitter. So
For sure.
movies has been one of those things, and I actually do
Hmm.
want to go see it. I've
It's one
heard
of
some
my
good things
it's
about it.
been one of my most anticipated since it got out. I
That
love Christopher Nolan, so it's been on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I noticed that one, I think, what was it, like a week or 2 ago, and I was like, "Oh, I
Hmm.
actually probably should go watch that."
Yeah,
So,
it looks
that
really
is
good.
something I am really excited about too.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, if you don't have anything else that you want to talk about book wise, thank you so much for coming on. Be sure to go check her out. Be sure to plug your things, Miss Rachel.
Yeah, so I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is less active. I'm working on that right now. So it's Feather Bookmark on both of them, and then I also have a blog called featherbookmark.com, and I post monthly blog posts or weekly blog posts on Mondays. Some of it's controversial, sometimes it is interviews. I talk about book reviews as well. I will be doing the Robin Hobb, Brandon Sanderson, and Ryan Cahill interview on a blog post on there. So keep up with that one. And I do most of my Dragonsteel stuff on there too. Um, so stay tuned for those. And then I have funny content on TikTok, and I like to integrate more of my blog into that one too. So
It's awesome. Your content is so funny. You're so
thank
hilarious.
you. I
Yeah,
try. I'm a goofball. I have no shame in my life. So
I get it. Me too. I'm the same exact way.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, Rachel. It's been great having you. This has been the Oracle Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on wherever else, MySpace, all at the Oracle Podcast. Um, this has been so much fun. I appreciate you so much for making the time to come on, Rachel. And this has been your prophecy.
Woo! Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you.